And it's, an 8-hour journey. Every time we stopped for sort of a bathroom break or snacks or stretch your legs, the soldiers, you could see, they'd get out of their trucks and they sort of do a armed perimeter around us, binoculars and the whole deal to see if there's any cars coming. Again, heavy on terrorist groups and kidnapping squads.
I don't know how you never get scared doing what you do.
I sometimes get scared.
Sometimes?
Sometimes.
Do you show it on the outside or is it strictly
absolutely.
internalized?
Yeah, I got caught in a military coup in Niger and I was definitely very scared. And I showed it. I was visibly shaken the whole time I was there.
Yeah, that wasn't that long ago, right?
No, that was like 2 years ago, August 2 years ago.
What happened there again? You were on the ground doing a different documentary and then got...
It was an episode of Trafficked. From the beginning, first season of Trafficked, I started pitching National Geographic a story on Niger because I was, first of all, it's one of my favorite parts of the world. It's the Sahel region of Africa, the southern Sahara Desert region. It's been sort of the center of all sorts of trafficking, human trafficking, gold trafficking, guns, everything you can think of. And gold trafficking is now fueling, which is the story we wanted to investigate there, is how gold trafficking is actually fueling terrorist organizations. And for the longest time, I kept telling National Geographic, it's such a good story. The United States has two big military bases there. The biggest drone military base outside of the United States is in Niger. Nobody knows a lot about it.
Wait, the biggest drone military
base outside of the United States was in Agadez in Niger, which is right in the Sahel region. And this is because the U.S. is fighting against these terrorist organizations and trying to keep them to not grow bigger and more powerful. And potentially all of these groups, the ultimate goal is to attack the U.S.
Right.
So to prevent another 9/11. And I kept telling Nat Geo that this was such an amazing story and so relevant to us. And so I wanted to really sort of look at the gold mining and how the gold is actually trafficked and how it gets into the hands of groups like Al-Qaeda and ISIS and Boko Haram. And I spent months putting on a plan, and every time Nat Geo would say it was just too risky. This is one of the most dangerous places on earth, essentially. Again, you have all those terrorist groups right there. You have kidnapping squads. There were three U.S. soldiers who had been killed there a few years before.
Oh, recently?
Yeah. Soldiers that were there as part of this operation to fight against the terrorist groups. And eventually, I think season 4, we finally convinced Nat Geo we have a plan. There was a democratically elected president at the time that had good connections with the United States. The U.S. had soldiers there. We'd been training the local military. And they had agreed, the government, the Nigerian government had agreed to allow us into the country and to let us do our work and provide us a military convoy.
Hey guys, 3 quick things. Number 1, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. It's a huge, huge help. Number 2, if you'd like to join my Patreon for early uncensored releases of the full episodes, you can join via the link in my description or in the pinned comment below. And number 3, if you'd like to join my clipping community for a chance to make content from the show and make money, you can join via the Discord link in my description below.
So we'd go into this very remote region where all the mining is happening and where all the trafficking is happening too. Very dangerous region, but we'd go with a military escort, which is not at all what I'm used to doing, right? I don't usually travel with security. But in this case, it was really the only way that I could ensure a way in and out safely out of that place. And so we did. And it was sort of an 8-hour journey out in the desert. This is complete desert, so there's no roads, right? It was 2 cars of ours, and then 4 trucks with military soldiers on top, all heavily armed and trained. And it's an 8-hour journey. Every time we stopped for sort of a bathroom break or snacks or stretch your legs, the soldiers, you could see, they'd get out of their trucks and they sort of do a armed perimeter around us, binoculars and the whole deal to see if there's any cars coming. Again, heavy on terrorist groups and kidnapping squads. But we managed to make it safely, and it was amazing. It was sort of one of my favorite days I've ever had in my life, where we spent the day. We got inside one of the mines, and this is sort of they're dug by hand and dynamite explosions, and you go
Dug by hand.
Yeah. First, they explode it with dynamite, and then they start like basically digging it. And
Can we pull up an image of this, Deef, while Mariana's talking
if you do
as well?
Niger gold mining,
Yeah, I'm
there's some good
terrified to say
shots
the name of that
this.
country for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
You say it the wrong way, you know.
Niger. It's not Nigeria, which is how
Right.
much people get it confused.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's sort of that. Yeah. So one of those, the top left corner one, that's sort of what we went down, my team and myself.
Jesus.
But the one we went was 100 feet deep, and it gets really claustrophobic.
I was going to say it's only that wide, but it's 100 feet deep.
Oh, yeah. And it is more or less that wide.
And you went in that?
Oh, yeah. My team and I, yeah, we did. And at one point, you have to go, I sort of had to go with my butt on the ground and sort of slide down.
Oh, hell no.
And we get to the bottom, and it's a bit wider, and there's a team of people. There were like 3 or 4 miners picking at the wall, basically 100 feet deep, picking at the wall, trying to get the little pieces that have gold in them to then carry them in huge bags up. But there's sort of no security procedures, right? These guys are doing this in flip-flops, by the way. And they told us, we got there because it was an 8-hour journey. We got there, I think it was like 3 p.m., and as we are filming at the bottom, they tell us, oh, by the way, we forgot to tell you, but at 4 p.m. is when the dynamite explosions start around us. And there's a high risk of this whole thing collapsing. So, it took us about half hour, 30, 40 minutes to go down. And they said, so we have about 20 minutes to get up, carrying all the gear and everything. And it was the fastest we've ever gone up, we've ever moved in our lives. But we got up, and within like 2 minutes after being out of the mine, you hear a huge explosion, and all over they're like basically opening up more mines and getting the gold out. So it was an amazing day. And we ended up camping out in the desert. It was me, my whole team, the only woman, surrounded by men, the soldiers, and my team and the miners. And then eventually we woke up the next morning. We ate goat. They cooked some goat for us the night before. We all had massive diarrhea during the night, but I was still on cloud 9 because this is really, and I knew like how many people in the world have experienced this, and it's exactly the kind of work I like to do.
Just quick question on it.
Yeah.
So wait, you had gotten to capture what?
Oh yeah, we filmed it all.
Yeah,
we filmed it all. We filmed interviews with miners. They explained to us how the terrorist groups come over and they buy gold from them, or sometimes don't even pay. They just sort of take the gold away from them, and that's how they're funding their operations in the region.
Do you ever, for a story like that, do you ever have a goal besides just, sunlight as a disinfectant, get the word out there, and then let hopefully good people do something with it to change it? Or do you ever actually go beyond that yourself? Like, hey, I want this story to be able to show X, Y, and Z because that'll literally force, I don't know, legislation or something like that.
I think it's the same thing, right? It is shining a light, but hopefully by shining a light, you're changing legislation. You're making the world better in some way. It's a bit of a cliche, but it's sort of the cherry on top for every journalist, right? You do the stories. It's not a sacrifice to do the stories I do. I do it because I love it, and I think that I'm very, very privileged to be able to sort of wander in the worlds that I do.
Yeah.
I think there is a little bit sometimes those journalists that like to talk about the sacrifices and the danger they put themselves out there in order to be able to shine a light on these important subject matters. You'll never hear that from me because I know I'm very privileged. It's a luxury to do what I do. But of course, it's the cherry on top always if you can actually make some sort of change, and the fact if your work can have an impact. And so for us, for me in this story particularly was to explain to the world what the heck the United States is doing in this remote country in Africa, and to understand why it is actually important to have military bases and American presence in places as remote as this. So I was very happy that we finally were able to capture it after years and years of trying to convince National Geographic to let us go, and then suddenly we did, and we were able to film it all. It was amazing, and know that very few people in the world had ever been able to get this on camera. So of course I was very happy.
All in a day.
All in a day. Next morning, wake up, head back to Agadez, which is the town closest to where we were, and we arrive. And we're out of service, by the way. There's no cell phone service, and we're arriving in Agadez. And again, we have a 2-car convoy plus the trucks with the military, And our fixer, who's a local journalist, who was actually from Mali, but we couldn't find a journalist from Niger that wanted to do the story with us. So we had to bring this guy from Mali who had done many stories in the region. No, we couldn't.
Wow.
But this guy had done stories in the region and came with us. Amazing guy called Baba. And suddenly I hear Baba in the front car, in the convoy, in a walkie-talkie, telling us something that sounded like there's no cook in Niamey. Niamey is the capital of Niger. And we were like, what? He's talking about a cook? Is he talking about dinner? We're so confused. And then it's sort of after he repeated it several times, we realized there's a coup in Niamey. So there's a coup, a military coup. They deposed the elected, democratically elected president, and the military had taken over the country. And
the same guy's protecting you.
Or not them, but
not them,
yes,
but
the military,
they work for him.
And essentially what happened is that immediately we lose our military. We arrived, they dropped us off at the hotel and they said, okay, the country is in disarray right now, goodbye, and left us. And so we were abandoned essentially in a hotel that had been built in the 80s when Gaddafi visited Niger. So as you can imagine, very run down. There was one security guy at the gate that spent most of the day sleeping. And yeah, in a region surrounded by a lot of danger. And we had to try to figure out how the hell and they closed the airspace and border. So we had to figure out how we're going to get out of here. And then suddenly they started evacuations from the capital, but we couldn't get to the capital. It was too dangerous. It was a 3-day drive. It was too dangerous. And everybody told us, absolutely do not do that. I actually tried to hire a human trafficker. We had said,
he's like, well, I am an expert in this.
We were interviewing this guy. And I was like, actually, brilliant plan. If we pay you, will you smuggle us out of the country? And he said, absolutely not. We were Americans and
said
you're high
no.
targets. He said, yeah, you can't pay me enough. Like, you're high targets. You're Americans. Absolutely not. And yeah, it was the beginning of a huge ordeal.
Thank you guys for watching the episode. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button and smash that like button on the video. They're both a huge, huge help. And if you would like to follow me on Instagram and X, those links are in my description below.